Hello, hello, hello. T minus 1 minute to start time. I'm so excited to see you all. All right, everyone. Welcome, everyone. If you are new here, today is Wisdom Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday, all the things Wonderful Wednesday, all the W's. You know, I'm a good stickler for alliteration, but we are talking about Wednesday, Wednesday, and Wednesday. And today we are talking about a topic that is so near and dear to my heart. But before I get besides myself, let me keep it the same way we always do with our quote. So I'll give you a second to read this as I adjust my lighting and everything and make sure y'all can see and get all this good wisdom today. So our quote is by Stacey Branch, and I feel like it has a little accent to it because there's some annotations on the name, but I'm gonna go with Stacey Branch for today. Stacey, if you're watching, I apologize for messing your name up. But the quote is so significant. It says, "Be mindful of your words and actions. Make sure you're lifting people up and not bringing them down." And I'm gonna let that sit right there for a minute because graduation time is here. We're at the tail end of graduation. Graduates, college graduates, middle school doesn't really graduate. They move up. Elementary moves up, but graduation season is here and is almost done. Listening to and watching a lot of graduation speeches. I'm listening to a lot of graduation speeches from present and from the past. And I'm noticing that most of the speeches talk about the impact, positive and or negative, that an educator, whether that be a teacher, whether it be a paraprofessional, whether that be a principal, an assistant principal, whatever, whoever you are in the field of education, school nurse, whatever, the impact that some words that was shared with them had on their life. Now, if you're like me, I listen very intently to the words and I watch actions. And I noticed that a lot of students delivering these speeches, whether they be, like I said, high school or college graduates or postgraduates, right? So those getting doctoral degrees, JDs, they've moved on from that 4-year degree. They always talk about someone who is influential in their life. Now, a lot of times, what I notice is that the power of the words or what's been said wasn't always a good thing. In fact, most of the time, the words were very defeating and deflating to the student, which caused them to either overcome or to feel like they were failures and they took them a while to kind of progress and move forward. So for today, I want to talk a little bit about, I saw a Jamal Bryant message that kind of resurfaced online when he kind of went through his transition from high school. And he talked about how he got put out of a high school. And his advisor said that he did not have the intellectual capability or capacity to do anything as it related to school. And I'm like, dang, this brother is accomplished. Say what you want about him. I'm not here to judge him, what he does, whatever the case may be. But one thing we cannot take away from him is his accomplishments. But let me bring you down to a situation that's more personal to me. And yeah, I told y'all I'm gonna go ahead and be transparent. I have a son who struggled academically. Now, he was often um, not encouraged, okay, when describing his academic ability or even his behavior. It was never in a positive light. No one ever spoke to his potential. No one ever spoke to who he could be, which is potential. They only talked about what they saw in the immediate, like right now in front of them. And I'm going to be very honest with you because I served as my son's administrator. I was an educator while he was in school, as well as my daughter, too. But my son is a topic for today. And I saw what other people saw. I did. And sometimes secretly, I kind of agreed with the fact that I just, not that he didn't have the potential, but he was just not channeling or focusing his energies in the way that he should, at least the way I thought. I have some other students that come to mind that I noticed that I jumped on the bandwagon. And I'm being transparent, y'all. So judge whoever you want to, but I'm telling you, I know I'm not the only one. I have some other students that I could think of immediately that was not hitting the mark. And earlier on in my career, as a teacher, a classroom teacher, as an administrator, I did not always choose the growth mindset words to help foster and build the potential and call out those things that were in that student, not the negative. I was so hyper focused on the negative and just was praying that these parents were going and withdraw their children. Can I be honest? I'm telling you when I say that they caused havoc, but I did not want to take the time to get to know what was beyond the surface because I could only address what was happening on the surface level. And I feel like my son was given an unfair advantage or not advantage. Trust me, not an advantage, but a disadvantage. And I recognize as the parent that I am, the educator that I am, and the educational leader that I am, I had to change the narrative. So, 3 ways to recognize how to speak life or how to not count students out or even your staff members. Because let me just take a pause right quick. Some of the staff members for those educational leaders, they're a little challenging too. And sometimes there's a rep. Again, let's call a spade a spade. There's a reputation that's there, and sometimes as educational leaders, we have to think twice. We have to be very mindful of our words and our actions. So the first thing I want you to think about when we about to put our mouths in a negative capacity on students or staff members or even our personal children. If you're not even in the field of education, but you're just watching to support, be mindful of the language that you use when you're describing, when you're edifying or tearing down students. We should not be in the business of anybody down. If you remember the quote in the beginning, watch our words. It is imperative that we remember the power of positive language. Words shape students or children or even adults' perception and their motivation. You may think that you're speaking out of frustration and you saying something to a child or even adult, and you just don't recognize how far back people will coil because you've triggered something. So please, I beg you today, be mindful of the words that you speak over people's lives. Positive language is where we need to focus on. When you're praising folks, be specific. Talk about the efforts that they made. Don't just count them out and say this, but give specific and actionable praise so that they know, hey, look, you may not be here, but we're getting there. Okay, maybe not yet. It's called growth mindset. Maybe you might want to do some research on that, but it's always reframing so that we are speaking positively. The other thing that I want to talk about is what I just said, modeling a growth mindset attitude. We might not be there yet, but with this type of support, we're well on our way. That sounds so much better than telling people what they're not capable of doing, who they will never be, how they would never match up or measure up. Like, we're not doing that anymore. Can we agree that in 2024 we are using growth mindset language? I'm going to take that as a yes. We're going to agree that that's what we're going to do. We need to make sure by using growth mindset, it helps the attitudes, the beliefs, and the values and the beliefs of students, children, adults' abilities when we're talking about giving praise and in growth mindset language. And then what I want to say with that, again, is we're going to reframe from using always highlighting challenges or the negative, but we are going to talk about the turning it around for our good. So we're not going to talk about you made this mistake and you did this, and thank you, Corporation Catalyst, for the growth mindset. We're not going to keep talking about what you're not doing right. We're going to talk about what effort is needed for us to get to the next space. The last thing that I want to talk about is believing in everybody's potential. The reason why I have this picture projected on the screen is that you notice that there are is a diverse group of folks. And so we want to make sure that we're calling out the diverse strengths, of the people that we're in front of. We already agreed in 2024, we're not going to harp on the negative. We're going to call out the positive. And so we're going to look at each individual with their individual needs, help them to set individual goals that are attainable, and then not only help them to set those goals, but also to support them in achieving those goals. So here is some quick language that I derived from the Jamal Bryant video that I referred to earlier, as well as some language that my son shared with me that he has heard over the years throughout his academic career. 1, you don't have the capacity to do anything intellectual. So instead of using your words negatively to say that, one way that you can support using a growth mindset is with effort and the right support, you can tackle intellectual challenges. I mean, just by saying that alone, it shifts the conversation from being negative to positive. Another one that I hear frequently, oh my gosh, you're so dumb. And you know what? Kids even say this to each other, right? They have to be taught that we don't talk to each other like this. But they model, they do what they see modeled to them. So if they're seeing adults having conversations like this, and even in a joking manner, oh my God, you're so dumb. Like, that just rolled off my tongue so easy. How about we challenge those kids, adults, whoever, to reframe their thinking and to build it in a growth mindset way. So as I mentioned on the slide, these are kind of like the top 5, and let me make sure my math is right. The top 5 things that I've heard and extracted from some graduation speeches, from Jamal Bryant's speech of his graduation, and from my own son's academic career. I will say, words have power. If you don't get anything else from today, know that your words have power. And you can make or break someone by the use of the words that come out of your mouth. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be the subject line of a graduation speech to show the positive impact or the negative impact? What impact do you want to leave? What legacy do you want to leave? As I close up this whole story time, and I know you can tell that I'm super passionate about this. I do want to give a success story. So Jamal Bryant, in his speech that he delivered, again, this was a while ago because bro had like a fro kind of box haircut, so this was years ago. He talked about how he did leave the high school that put him out. He wound up getting his GED. He was accepted into Morehouse, which Morehouse said that they didn't take students with GEDs, but he got into Morehouse. And he also went on to explain that the educator or the advisor that said that he couldn't do it is a member of his church. Okay, watch your words. Now let me bring it to my son. My son struggled. He did, as I shared before. But let me tell you, he has graduated high school in Japan. Yes, you heard it right, Japan. And he has just successfully completed his first year at Morehouse College. And I didn't pick Jamal and my son together because they both went to Morehouse or anything like that. But those are two stories that resonated with me. Your words have power. I'm not going to beat the dead horse. I just want you to understand that. Please stop putting your mouth on people and what they can and cannot do. Let's stay positive. Let's stay having a growth mindset, and let's speak life into everyone that we encounter, whether we like them or not. Speak life. Do not tear anybody down with your words. I think about Hezekiah Walker's song, I Need You to Survive. And I need you to survive. I'm not trying to preach anything like that, but I just want you to know, and I'm going to say it and I'm going to be done. Watch your mouth. Stop counting folks out before they even have a chance. Watch your mouth. All right. Now that I've gotten that off my chest, I am happy to report that on this Saturday, June 1st, we are actually going to celebrate and reflect on some major milestones. So for some of you tuning in, you just finished the school year as a teacher, as a educational leader, as a whatever you were, and now you're about to transition into a new career. Whoever you are in this world, you might have just graduated from college, from high school, and you're just tuning in because you happen to see, the Culture Academy, you like the colors or whatever the case may be. We are going to turn up and celebrate. We're going to toast our triumphs on Saturday school. We're going to reflect on lessons learned, and then we're going to start putting some plans into place for our future. And if you have not already had an opportunity to book a session, a package, land the job, if you are in interview season like lots of us are, and I say us because we are a family, consider go ahead and purchasing this package so that the Culture Academy can get you straight as you prepare for your next, whatever that is. And so, if you didn't know, you can always book a strategy call or a consultation with us here at the Culture Academy using our Calendly link, which has been dropped in the chat box for you. Or for your own access and ability, you can go ahead and scan the QR code that's available for you on the screen. As always, we want to thank you so much for joining. We have multiple social media platforms that we're on. As I always say, don't just be a spectator. Make sure you're a participator. So don't just join, make sure that you engage. And you can engage with us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X, formerly known as Twitter. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us for Wisdom Wednesday. And you have a great one. We can't wait to see you on Saturday at Saturday School. Until next time, guys. Bye.